When I was growing up, my dad was my hero. He worked 2 jobs, 7 days a week, just to make sure there was food on the table and that I had everything I needed. I still remember him coming home late, his hands rough and eyes tired, but his smile never faded. But as I grew up, I started seeing things differently. While I was hustling through college and working part-time, my dad lost his job. At first, I felt sorry for him, but months went by and nothing changed. He spent most of his time on the couch, watching TV. I couldn't understand why he wasn't getting back on his feet. My frustration grew into resentment. If he can work for 20 years, why can't he just get up and do something now? I'd think to myself. I felt embarrassed to bring friends over, worried they'd see my lazy dad sitting around. I began to talk down to him. Maybe if you stopped being so lazy, we wouldn't be struggling, I shouted one night. One afternoon, after another heated argument, I did the unthinkable. I asked him to leave. I told my own father he was a burden. His face, the same face that had always looked at me with love, now looked broken. Without a word, he packed a small bag and left. I thought I'd feel relief, but all I felt was an unsettling silence. Weeks passed, and my mother barely spoke to me. She would sit by the window, staring out as if waiting for him to return. I got busier with my life, promotions, new friends, everything I thought I wanted. But at night, I couldn't sleep. Guilt gnawed at me. I hadn't seen or heard from my dad, and something felt wrong. One day, I got a call. It was from a hospital. My dad had collapsed at a homeless shelter. He had been sick for weeks, but with nowhere to go, he pushed through until his body couldn't take it anymore. I rushed to the hospital, my mind racing with memories, his laugh, his sacrifices, his love. When I arrived, he was lying on a cold hospital bed, hooked up to machines. His once strong hands now looked fragile. His eyes, still filled with that same love, met mine. Tears streamed down my face as I sat by his side. "Dad, I'm sorry. I was so wrong. Please come home." He reached out, his fingers weakly wrapping around mine. "I never left you, son. I was always right here, waiting." My father survived, but our relationship had scars, ones I had carved with my own hands. I learned the hard way that parents aren't perfect. They age, they struggle, and sometimes they need us as much as we needed them. The truth is, no matter how tired or weak they may seem, their love never falters. If you're lucky enough to still have your parents around, cherish them. Because one day when you look back, you won't regret the time you spent with them. You'll regret the time you didn't. Drop a yes if you love your parents and leave a follow for more such stories.